his flashlight forward. He says he hopes it's not some kind of trap. So, here's a sound ahead that grabs his attention. Then he sees a mutant zombie looking like an anomaly with several people in a bumper car. Ahead near the bumper, holding the steering wheel, says something that seems to notice their presence. Then we see that the entire zombie looks like a car. As the driver turns the wheel, we see the zombie car turn in their direction. He emits a horrendous scream right after, causing several other zombies to wake up. These other zombies also start screaming. They've all been charged for our life. Kevin says it really was a zombie trap, and Warren says the older boy jinxed their mission when he mentioned a trap. Our boy promptly calls for the zombie girl. She then gets ready for combat. In the next second, the girl lets him in. While our boy thinks that's why no one from the camp wanted to take the boy there. The zombie girl lands in the middle of all the zombies and moves past the boy and the zombie. As she gets close, she hears a powerful kick. The zombie girl
Nahaw, good morning, good morning.
still looking for her, holding the steering wheel in her hands. Then the bumper falls beside him with a thud. The mutant zombie screams in rage. He throws the steering wheel at the wall in front of him. The force is so strong it brings down a whole part of the wall on top of his shoulder. Carol yells for the zombie girl, trying to see her through the smoke and rubble. Then he tells White Blue to find a safe place to hide. But the brat is stuck standing still and staring ahead. He points while the zombie dress as the bear runs toward him and says that is his father. The boy remembers his dad dressed in the bear costume. Then we see reality, the bear suit all dirty and torn. Carol calls Wong, telling him they should hide first. The boy, determined, responds no. He says,
Kau na diba?
our boy was about to ask him something, but
Uy.
he's interrupted by the kid saying to trust him and to remember his mission. Smiling, Carol says he'll leave all to him now. He starts climbing the rubble right after.
Magunyaw-nya ragkaon kay duwag cellphone.
Brat to be such a formidable human being. Right after, we see a zombie who's not overly threatening. But nothing is threatening to our zombie girl. He kicks it in the head.
Cellphone yung pamahawa.
She manages to block some, but is clearly getting surrounded. One of the zombies grabs her hair and starts to pull. She begins to suffocate.
Nakahulakan sunod.
Zombies surrounding her. Gail ends up disappearing in the massive number of
Sa pakaon ng cellphone.
Gail watches and tells her to fight up.
Buntag pa sa'yo, mag-cellphone na.
Zombies flying in all directions and Sheldon rises from among them. Fitz breathes panting. He asks if she forgot how to fight by the monster nearby. Descending to her, Gail tells her to take care of the chunky woman with the hands and small front. Then she screams and looks back. Our boy then activates the violent god of mobility.
Dili mo kaon dayon.
Those scars are shared with our hero. The two set off each for their targets.
Di mo kaon dayon, bantay magreklamo kung wala may sudan.
Flashlight tells himself to stay calm. He trained hard for this moment. Then he
Mao ra
says
bagi dayon mo.
his dad is alive. He'll bring him back. And if he's already a zombie,
Dugay mo kaon.
finishes by saying
Masuko pag wa nay sudan.
he would never forgive himself if he became human.
Mingon dayo gwa binli.
He then walks a bit more and trembling turns a corner. Next, we see someone in a bear costume, all torn and dirty. Our brat takes a deep breath that says this is it and runs toward his target. On the way, a zombie on the ground grabs his foot and makes him fall as he asks where that monster came from. That seems to catch the attention of the guy in the bear costume, who heads toward him with arms stretched out. The boy starts hitting the zombie that grabbed him while the other keeps getting closer. Then he looks back and realizes the guy in the bear costume really saw him and thinks he's dead. Kale wonders why every time he goes out, he runs into a different type of mutant zombie. He notices that
Meron bulag.
Sheldon doesn't seem to be entering the emergency state like last time, so the zombie must be weaker. The car zombie then moves strangely, and our boy notices that it moves
Pansit
sideways.
with
Enraged, the
bulad.
zombie screams, staring at him. One of the faces that makes up the car's mobile mouth, and suddenly something strange happens. It starts to swell, his veins begin to close. Then explodes with a terrible bang. The boy manages to notice just in time. He then jumps to the side, managing to dodge it. He looks back and wonders what the hell that was if it was a zombie jet. Meanwhile, the zombie car looks straight at him, growling. The zombie gets angry, and our hero seems to smile and enjoy the idea. As it fires two more zombie jets,
Yung mga bata pa
Karen
kanon
says
dili mo kaon dayon man
the
yung
boy says that no matter how
hotdog
strong
sudan.
it is, a car without a driver
Tapos ang ipasudan, ang cellphone, latan.
everything she's got. The zombie girl, just as Kale asked, charges full speed.
Cellphone, gawing sinigang.
After a powerful blow, we see one of the car's faces screaming. Right after, the zombie lights up like a waterfall of fireworks. A few seconds later, it explodes in a glowing ball as our boy says that was amazing. He looks back with a worried expression, wonders how things are going with the kid, and then he sees a flashlight on the ground. The light is hitting the head of the zombie that grabbed his foot and it falls to the ground. The bear head falls to the side, and the zombie inside the costume. He starts walking forward, and to the boy who says not to do this. The tears
Saya
in his
mga
eyes
yung pagbulag,
is
di
A few
magkakot.
seconds of silence follow his cry.
Ayaw pagkaon na na.
Then stops his running.
Kaon gapon to.
He remembers another time in the past when he asked his dad what they would do in this apocalypse, like the disease and the thought that life would be very hard for everyone. He tells his son that the humans would be the most hope
Tuyang.
another moment, smiling and asking if he's free to smile. And then the boy finishes what he came there to do. Sometime later, we see the brat sharing something with the kid.
Doran na mo.
Carrying a shower with his back and says that his father was told to do it. Little boy asks him how he is doing this. Keo says he doesn't think he can make it. Then Keo says that when the father is raising his kids, he'll definitely be stronger than him. Brian the brat looks at our boy and says yes. We see a card game going on. Cal is playing cards, and after spending a few days at the camp, he started taking on more missions. He explains that he began to get along better with the people at the camp, and that he hadn't paid much attention to the mission rewards, but would want his toy, for example, and was heading to the museum and gave them extra points. Then he discovers that when contractors give items that were important to them as rewards, they turn into points. Besides that, they get stored in the system's museum. Cal is telling Lala that he can't back out of the bed now, and asks for the cigarettes he always carries. He then asks if he can give him anything else. He says no. He then takes one and tries to light it, saying he'll use one on the bed. And Kato says he's a sore loser and runs after him. As he lights one, he starts coughing like crazy. The people around start laughing at him, saying he can't even do that and doesn't need to pretend to be cool. One of the boys says he's not doing it just because he wants to, but because it reminds him of his wife. He always lights one when he thinks of her because of the smell. Lao Lai says that Dick Sharon is 30 years old and still asks the old man to get him a stuff. The man embarrassed says he got it for his daughter because she likes those things. The father asks if he really has a daughter, saying he's never seen her before. He then said they live in the county and they called him a few days after everything happened and believes they're okay because they're tough. Then he reveals that Xiao Wu also had Xiao Mei get something for him, and that he's curious to know what it is. The man with glasses then says it's nothing. The other one smiles and says he's shy. Lao Lu says he'll give his watch to Xiao Mei, and he tells what the boy asked him to find. Our boy says he can't say. It's part of the client's privacy agreement. Then the boy says it's not necessary and reveals he asked him to bring flowers. Everyone is left speechless when they hear the friend's request. The two men start crying with laughter as one asks if the flowers are trash or his, and the other asks who he confessed to. Then the man says it was to Xiao Su from logistics. Everyone laughs. Irritated, he says his heart has already been broken and how dare his friends laugh at him like that. Suddenly, we see a lightning bolt cut across the sky. All the boys wonder what that was and if it blew as lightning. Then the captain appears, putting her clothes on quickly, while our boy is in shock. She then asks everyone to get up. Our boy asks what the situation is while covering his eyes. The captain asks Xiao Wu to take the weak, sick, and injured to the third floor and tells Lao Lai to gather people and weapons while she sets up the defensive line. Our boy then wonders what's happening and whether to mobilize. The girl is tying up her hair while someone else is away. Our boy sees the opportunity and asks if he wants to hire them to help with the defense. She looks at him, thinks for a second, and then says yes, but there wouldn't be many rewards. Our boy proudly says he feels like a dishonest way taking advantage of people.
Ubus.
System confirms S-rank mission. He's extremely shocked, saying that the mission was already extremely exhausting. He yells at the system and should let him know the mission's difficulty before accepting it and says he feels deceived. Sometime later, we see more lightning streak across the sky. Lao Liu has a cigarette and says he hopes nothing bad happens this time. While our boy asks him what happened the last time, he says the camp's original captain was someone else who died half a week ago, and he did it just like that. We then see the white-haired zombie as Lao Liu speaks about how he killed her. Then he falls silent, staring into nothing, and after a while, he looks aside. Then he reveals that someone killed her. Important women in fact Joe was the current captain of the camp. Some time ago, he says that day they had only received a wireless transmission, and the leader of the tribe went out
Hindi
looking
pa
for
ako tapos.
survivors. He comments that was the first time they'd gone out in the rain since the start of the apocalypse, and they didn't know the rain agitated the zombies. The two women constantly fought because they had very different worldviews, even though both were extremely driven and intelligent. A man says there are zombies in front of them and that they're surrounded. The former leader asks them to move out of her way because she'll handle them. She then grabs her weapons and starts opening fire on the zombies. Suddenly, she looks to the side and sees a zombie coming to attack her. She quickly dodges the attack. Then we see several wires set up and a zombie walking toward them, getting caught by the neck. The woman on the other side lifts the wire using the zombie as a counterweight. Right after, she kicks it in the face. It sends it flying toward the other zombies, crashing into one of them. She then lands gracefully on the ground. As she gets up, she looks at her group and tells them to keep going. The current captain tells them to run and not slow down. Right after, she looks up at one of the containers and asks what that is. She yells for Yanji to be careful. Suddenly, a piece of metal flies and hits Yanji right in the face, leaving a vertical cut. Suddenly, a zombie jumps down and lands in front of her. The zombie starts growling, and we see it looks like a mutant zombie with extra teeth. She stares it down, taking all the tasks she would soon have to order. Yanji then calls out to Meng Dai and tells her they need to go ahead or everyone will die there. The other one, after a few seconds of silence, yells for Lao Lai to get them to go. He, without protest, says he understood, but at that moment his heart was full of uncertainty. He understood that if they stayed, they would end up causing more casualties. At the time, he ran and drove to meet up with the others on the other side, and then returned to the port. What he didn't expect was that only men died would get in the car, and as soon as she did, she told him to start the engine. He asked about the energy. The woman only tells him to start the car as zombies begin to surround the
Gutom kay kaon.
Again, he asked about the other woman and begs her to answer. After a few seconds of silence, Mendai says she killed her. He continues saying that after they came back, she said the other woman was to escape alone, and that's why Mendai killed her. Many people in the camp say it's a lie, that she did it to take over leadership of the camp, and they hope that he, for having been there, would do something. But he says he didn't say anything because he knew that if Yanji was dead, the most suitable person to lead the camp really was Mendai. The man then wonders if she truly is the best leader, and if he was right not to question it. Our boy says the camp survived, and that says it all. He then turns to the man and says his decision was correct. Having a good person in leadership who ensures everyone survives is better than the truth. The man then smiles and repeats to himself the word survive. The rain continues to fall relentlessly into the night. The zombies start getting more agitated as the rain begins to fall in the city center.
So kay mga bulad.
Making the zombies even more frenzied, much so that our boy notices and says the invasion is beginning. The captain was on the east side of the building giving instructions to the people in the camp. She tells them to prepare electric fences at the windows and says not to save on fuel because survival is more important. One of the men is surprised by the information that zombies climb windows until he actually
So kay mga bulad ag dahon dili dayon mo kaon na hapit na hutdan.
the electric fence provides cover. Then we see several zombies climbing the windows and scaling the building. Someone yells to the leader that they need more people on the west side. One of the zombies reaches the window and looking inside lets out a scream. Then the foot of our zombie girl ears smashing into his face. Loudly asks Cal if he found a girlfriend because the girl is incredible. And he says she used to train in Chinese kickboxing and that she's not his girlfriend. A man arrives and calls Leo to help on the other side. He quickly says okay and starts moving. But the captain appears right after and tells him to stay there and calls Xiaowu instead. Leo then, confused, asks whether he's staying on that side or not. The captain immediately says yes, and that now he's the one in charge of that area. His friend jokingly asks if he thought they couldn't hold that side without him, but Lao tells him to shut up and just go. A zombie approaches Lao from behind, and our boy yells at him not to let his guard down until the zombie was ready to attack. He apologizes, and the two of them start taking down more zombies together. Meanwhile, in the west area, at the entrance to the third floor, we see several bodies on the ground and people running from zombies. The captain tells Deshan to eliminate all the zombies and rebuild the defensive lines, while she holds the third floor passage with Xiaoyu. She thinks the situation is not looking good and wonders if she'll need to blow up the stairs on the west side. The boy runs from a zombie that's chasing him, but is saved by his friend, who tells him to get up and help him beat it. Soon after, the captain asks Group B to join him on the lights. This is fuel, The leader says it doesn't matter. If they don't make it through the night, the fuel won't matter anymore. Again, we see several zombies climbing the windows. Then we see an improvised spear going through a zombie's mouth. One of the friends says it seems like he's not so useless anymore, and the other, smiling, tells him not to start getting cocky now. The friend then asks how many of them will get a headshot with a spear. The leader teases him to go get a few more. He laughs and says that after they win, he'll help with their wedding. Behind the captain, we see one window still intact and another broken. Most importantly, we see different claws dug into the concrete of one of them. Meanwhile, on the eastern defense line, we see a zombie with several spikes protruding from his body screaming. Cal notices the mutant zombie behind him. The zombie jumps toward him. He then screams for Xiaoyu. The zombie gets dangerously close to him with its claws ready to strike. But the attack is stopped by our favorite zombie girl. Cal thinks that was really dangerous, that the attacking zombie got way too close. He thinks that if he were a normal person, he definitely would have died from that attack. We then go back to the western area where the situation is tense. We see the man with glasses suffer a lethal blow to the abdomen while the leader watches. Then, with a trembling voice, he calls out to her as his strength fades. We see some sacks and shells behind the door to keep it in place. An elderly lady asks Deshan why they're up there. He calls her Grandma Chen and apologizes for failing to defend the base. The people there start to panic, saying they don't want to die yet. The captain asks everyone to calm down, but it's not over yet, and tells Lola to count the people for those bid to receive a dose of kindness. The girl approaches Sean and says she'll help with his wound. The girl then begins tending to the cut on his arm in silence. A few seconds later, he calls her Xiao Wu and starts to say something. She says he's dead and that she didn't see the boy go with them and had imagined. The man then apologizes, saying he couldn't protect him.
Maya-maya maglaban na naman ako.
Confessed to her with a bunch of flowers in front of everyone.
Labadami.
She got nervous and rejected him reflexively, but later tried to find him to talk and couldn't. Then, feeling tears fall,
Thank
she
you,
said she
Lord.
actually really liked him. While her eyes
For
filled
the
with
food.
tears, she can no longer hold back. Nearby, Lai talks with the leader and says there are 9 soldiers and 4 logistics members left, and she says that number is too low. One Frank starts shouting weirdly, saying he wants
Yan,
to go down.
washing.
Brother
May
Sheldon was
washing.
killed by zombies and he wants revenge. He says that if they're not going to take revenge, then they'll stay locked up there waiting for the end, or they'll do something. At that moment, the zombies reach the door of the place where they are being enforcing. Everyone inside at that moment begins to panic and get startled. The captain then tells them to fall back immediately. Kevin thinks it wouldn't be a problem for him to tell you to get out of there, but wonders what will happen to those people. Meanwhile, the zombie girl is eating quickly, and our boy asks her to eat calmly, saying no one's going to take her food. He wonders if he should do a random draw, but depending on what he gets, might not help much. Opening the system, he sees something he should try. The system shows an item called large wheel for staff. He swipes to the side, and we see the human resources window showing his employee, our beloved zombie girl. As he swipes to the side, the system asks if he wants to open a slot for a new worker, and he confirms the unlock while wondering if anyone is nearby. Soon after, the screen shows his logo resident directory. Amazed, he looks at the system screen after a search. Meanwhile, outside, the rain continues to fall. Cal tells leader Meng that he needs to leave the territory for a while, that he's leaving Xiaoyu and his body fed. He quickly adds that he'll be back soon, if he survives. The girl then calls out to him and says he accepted her mission. He smiles and tells her not to worry because he remembers, and that they're business people after all. He finishes by saying that integrity always comes first. Once again, another loud bang hits the door of the place they're in. Finally, we see a hand coming through the door, and one of the zombies puts his face in it. The captain then yells for everyone to stop. That's when we see a zombie leap toward Xiaoyu from behind. It prepares its attack. The zombie girl isn't off guard and responds in time. Warning the witness see Cal asking her while she was eating to help them defend for a while. He says he needs to go somewhere for a while because without that the camp won't last until the next morning. And then he says that if the girl isn't there with them, they definitely won't even last the next 3 hours. Cal says she needs to stay there alone and help defend the place and that he won't give her any orders. He adds that he's not doing this because he thinks she can do it alone. Then smiling, he says he trusts her. Next, we see the girl using her ability of making the energy flow through her body. In the middle of the rain, our hero is leaning against a container hiding. He notices that due to the crowd of zombies around the camp, the number around the port has decreased. The next question is how he's going to take control of the new maid. He then thinks that he can't rely on the retrieval system like he did with his first maid, the zombie girl. Looking at the system windows, he says that this time he can prepare with a modified UV beacon, but it can only be used once. And besides that, all he can rely on is his beloved sword to move forward. While moving across the containers, he wonders if the camp folks will be able to hold out. He thinks it's better to worry about himself instead of others, or he'll be torn to pieces. A zombie appears behind him as he's thinking that if he runs into another little zombie, he'll probably get beaten up by both. Our boy stays silent as he slowly turns his head toward his back while lightning flashes across the sky. Suddenly, a mutant zombie that was on top of the containers jumps at him, while Kale looks in disbelief. He prepares himself while thinking that everything he says ends up happening and raises his weapon to try to defend himself. The zombie lifts the weapon directly, allowing our boy to block the attack. However, the weapon is broken in two and thrown far away. Next, we see our boy being thrown far, hitting his back against a container. Before he can fall to the ground, the mutant zombie charges at him again. Suddenly, something happens before the mutant zombie can reach our hero. We then see the white-haired zombie girl who stopped the mutant zombie from continuing his attack. The mutant zombie attacks the white-haired zombie girl, but she dodges. At the same time as she dodges, she lands a hit right on the zombie's face. Our boy then sees that the two are fighting each other while the first mutant zombie crashes face first into a container. The girl breathes in relief as she thinks that for now she's safe. He notices the movements the mutant zombie makes and wonders if she learned Kravel Bagel before she died. The two seem to have a lot of experience of fighting each other. The mutant zombie then grabs her by the leg and slams her face into the ground. Keeping the zombie girl pinned to the ground, the mutant zombie on top licks her neck while there's a fight. Then he sinks his teeth into her neck. As he does that, we see the wound on his arm start to heal. He's absorbing the other to heal himself. Then Cal ponders what he should do. If he runs now, the camp will be doomed. Something worse might happen if he interferes. He then thinks of the zombie girl and says there's no time to hold back now. Next, he grabs his UV lens and turns it off, calling the zombie's attention to him. The zombie turns and looks at the flashlight, raising his hand in front of his face because the brightness is blinding him. Meanwhile, Cam tells him not to even think about hurting some maid. The zombie then jumps at him, escaping the beam of UV light. Once again, as he's getting close to our boy, an iron bar pierces through the zombie's body. On top of the container to his left, our white-haired zombie girl is holding 2 more iron bars ready to throw. She then moves and hurls both iron bars at the zombie into the ground. Next, we see all the iron bars embedded in the zombie's body, hitting him to the ground while he lets out a desperate howl. A few seconds later, the zombie's body simply vanished. Our boy says that he's finally been defeated and wonders whether the explosion was because he was a mutant zombie or not. The white-haired zombie girl then stands in front of him holding an iron bar in her hand. And Keo now wonders how he's going to be able to control this young lady. Once again, lightning cuts through the stormy night sky. The kid tells him to aim for the zombie's head, but the other man says they're moving too fast and he can't get a clear shot. Then we see 3 zombies jumping on top of our little brat to attack him. But our zombie girl was paying attention and protected him, passing right through the 3 zombies with ease. One of the zombies was a mutant, and her attack didn't completely destroy her. It then turns around and leaps at her with an attack. With great speed, we see the wall behind the zombie girl shatter. And then we see a mutant zombie with her hands embedded in the wall. While she's flying above his head, then she comes down with a fatal attack from above onto the mutant zombie. One of the men says not to stand there watching the girl, because Kale clearly said not to stay close to her at that moment. He then continues, saying that if they slack off, they'll be the ones grabbing her. One of the men then plants himself around and one of them got back up. He says to leave behind and charges for the zombie. However, he attacks the zombie to the zombie prepares an attack against him.
Washing tayo, laba. Laba, dami.
As he says that, we see a mother and a little girl of zombies. We see a stretching out her feet. Falling to his knees, he calls out to Lily, his daughter. The two of them walk toward him with leg skaters and the 2 zombies then get very close to him. He stands up and opens his arms, saying, "There's so much to go over, so you know." And we see the real scene of the 2 zombies getting very close to him. One of the friends then yells out for the shit. The other watching this scene with a stunned expression, showing he was the only one to say that. Still very tired from using her ability, she tries to get. Soon after, we see a zombie with a red headband in front of him. Behind him, we see countless other zombies. The zombie girl will not shout out the word by the zombie. The woman then shouts for Desha not to go any closer. We see a girl telling Xiao Wu not to go after her. The girl then trips over trying to do her own flowers. Then we see the foot of the zombie stepping on the bouquet of flowers and then give it to her in life. The zombie then lets out a huge roar. The injured zombie girl clenches her teeth. However, quickly and quickly she collapses to the ground, unable to stand any longer. Still trembling, she tries once again to get up as she sees that everyone she was placed there to protect is falling. And then she remembers Kale's words saying that he trusted her. Once again, she stands and faces the countless zombies ahead. They stare back at her, and she lets out a fierce scream. Again, unable to stay on her feet, the zombie girl starts to fall to the ground. But before she can hit the ground, catches her. She sees that the brother father is response and tells her to rest go, and says to leave the rest to him as we see the white-haired zombie girl standing by his side too. The girl is lying on the ground with tears in her eyes, screaming for a zombie. Suddenly, the zombie falls to the side, struck by something in the head. We then see Kale saying for Xiao Wu to rest in peace. Meanwhile, on the other side of the camp, we see a man asking why this Sharon is so
Maglaba tayo.
The white-haired zombie girl rushes past and lands a bullet in the back of the zombie. While Lai stands with mouth open and eyes wide as he sees who the white-haired zombie is. Kale tells Lai to take care of Xiao Wu and leave the rest of the Still confused, he wonders who the reinforcement is and who that white-haired woman is. Captain then says that it was not the case too. She says while watching the scene, even with many changes, there's no way that you're mistaken. The white-haired zombie is definitely Jack. The zombie that eyes with the time to head was Jack. She effortlessly slices the zombie's head in half as if she didn't use any strength at all. And then we go back a few hours in the past and see the scene of white-haired zombie against the backdrop of the World Camp. Looking at Yanji, Cave says that the camp she was supervising is facing serious problems and that they need her help. After a few seconds, her response is that it's not directly to try another tactic, and then he starts trying to convince her in another way. He says he doesn't mind her being Yanji killed. A few more seconds go by without a response, and he clutches his teeth, thinking his tactics still aren't working. She then starts walking toward him with fire. He begins looking around for a way out, thinking he had power to back. The girl quickly attacks him with an iron bar throwing in his face. Then we hear a loud crash. Cal is on the ground while the zombie lies next to him with the iron bar she just threw. The system then informs that Yanji has agreed to a temporary employee contract with him. The boy, seeing the type of contract she's proposing, thinks she's only willing to help him for now. The system also states that the temporary contract will be revoked at any moment if he goes well. Then we return to the camp scene with the zombie eliminating all the other monsters present. Cal then cheers for her, saying she's amazing. The system says the zombie criticizes him for the good luck shout, feeling embarrassed and says he sounds like a weak when he yells. We see a zombie with a megaphone near his mouth. The zombie then starts shouting something into the megaphone and pointing forward, causing all the other zombies to move in that direction. system shows that the improved Gandhi is using her weapon past her skin. The knife she picks up then begins to glow with an intense light. Amazed, Kale says that it was just a small dagger. How is it possible that she's doing what she's doing? Finally, we see the result. The MG managed to split all the zombie bodies in half using only a single dagger. The system then says that her skill can turn any object in her hands into a weapon that increases range and power. Once again, we see the port container on the remaining zombies looking at the sky. The captain tells the MG that it looks like they managed to shake out the zombies and maybe they can make it back to camp quicker. The other then grabs the girl's hand and calls her. She then shows her arms with 2 giant scratches and says she fears she can't return to camp. The girl then says she'll find an axe and cut off her arm as long as the virus hasn't spread. She still has a chance. She says she fought for too long against that guy and that she's using what little energy she has left to stay conscious. She tells the girl not to say that she died fighting zombies and that she's continuing to qualify for leaving in her absence. Then hugging the girl, she says to leave the rest of the camp in her name and she begs her to do so. The captain says she's a liar and that she hides everything and lies because of her. And in the end, she always stays alive. Smiling, she says that after getting through this night, she'll get revenge. Meanwhile, somebody shouts into the field and the poor turns in their direction. The white-haired zombie then prepares for combat. She gives one of the zombies with a box. Meanwhile, she finds a screwdriver and acts quickly. She throws the screwdriver, making it pass through the faces of 3 different zombies at once. Teo thinks that all she did was use a screwdriver and caused absurd long-range damage. The zombie then picks up a tennis ball. The glowing tennis ball is thrown by the zombie toward the floor. The tennis ball then smashes the face of one of the zombies as Kale reaches for it. Many of those zombies are shouting, and more and more zombies continue to appear. Cal then points out the megaphone zombie in the MG and says they will kill you. You got this right there. Sleep great. Come on, man. You are for a struggle. Try it out. The system says the zombie claims it's impossible to get through the crowd of zombies. Kale's system is small enough to her. Finally, her eyes meet as the captain says to them. Cal tells MG that she's in charge of taking out the leader while they handle smaller ones. Right after that, he opens his backpack and says he will test that. Then, he pulls out a clapping monkey toy from the backpack. He turns the toy on and starts making a ruckus as he yells for his helpers to follow him. Bud realizes he's on time too. The other man asks him to go get more ammo because it's already out. MGI then stands still, watching the girl's strategy. She smiles slightly as the battle continues. Quickly, she leaves for the megaphone zombie. As soon as she passes, the zombie's head is fully separated from his body. The other zombies now understand what's happening and start to shout. Still holding the knife, she suddenly slashes at all the others around her. The girl stops behind one of the zombies. She throws the knife at the zombie that breaks her attack. Cal screams in desperation, saying that he blocked her last weapon. The girl then grabs a belt with an instantly starts to run. Suddenly we see one of the zombies' hands fall down. Nail angrily, thinking she stole his belt. Quickly, she wraps the belt around the zombie's neck and pulls it back. She then breathes and calmly brings her one final hole. On a sunny morning, we see birds flying. A man starts digging a hole with a shovel. While Lars digging a hole in the ground, we see that 2 weeks have passed. We see another grave being made as we're told that less than half the survivors made it through that night. Due to the damage the building took, the rest of the survivors decided to move out. Cal received several missions in preparation for the group's departure day. Loudly kept pestering the captain.
Laba.
2 days and stuffed herself with food. In the end, she was never seen again after that day. The captain said they She says she's already made her decision.
Minara ba ng tibilan?
Cal surprises her, asking if she can the contract still hasn't ended and he can still track her. Saying that you will know Cal looks at her seriously.
Berani ka ay! Huwag kayo bangon! Huwag kayo magkipos!
Doesn't even think so cautiously anymore. The boy then smiles and says not to worry, he's there for her. And tells her the girl finally tells him to stop trying to convince her and to just go already. Then he says to hell with it because they can't. Hell then arrives and Jay to them. Lyle Lee is happy and walks the car saying, "This is great." Everyone then looks with surprise in their eyes. He says that the girl is no longer human. Things are acting like that because of the zombies. Then Di yells saying that she's going to be melting. She says that everyone suspected her after she took her place, but she had avoided all the pressure and finally managed to unite everyone. But then every day she She says that just because she's no longer human doesn't mean she can turn against her. That's what was ahead. She wouldn't even try to give her last farewell. Ann Janet walks up to the girl and puts her hand on her head. Tears begin to form on Red Dad's face. She then holds the zombie, unable to hold herself back. Cam says he will count on the captain says that's the most expensive clothing kit she bought before the apocalypse, and that Yanji should take good care of it. The rat asks and what they should do if they can't defeat the zombies to which he replies to the best. Then he says to the officer,
Labadami.
Hal and Yanji are side by side when he says that they finally left.
Daming labahan, oh. Wala pa ng hipos.
He opens the system screen and says that now it's time for rewards and sees he has 1,007 days. Then he says that this time he wants to scroll roulette 10 times. Our boy says that finally, after a lot of effort, he managed to gather his first 1,000 pennies. Smiling, he tells the system to activate the lottery. He's excited and tells the system that today he's the luckiest man alive. The two maids are watching him as he excitedly tells them the limit starts spinning. He wins a night vision contact lens that grants short-range night vision when used. The boy also wins a black and red tactical knife. Harold is happy when the two new clothing items right away and says that now he doesn't need to carry the ones anymore and just summon them from the system. Store his new
Naghanatag mahimo nga trabaho pero ni atong sakop nagligid-ligid pa. Dugay pa mo mata, di pa manghipos dayon. And finally, he wins 2 new memory fragments. Michelle, universal. The boy then starts thanking the system, praising it as the savior of the universe, making the girls feel embarrassed. Our boy ponders when he gives the universe hayahay ang buhay. The system says the exchange was successful, and the boy with shining eyes Number 4 lang si Sir.
Right after a huge explosion happens behind him, and he turns around asking what's going on. He sees people fighting with weapons against each other.
Hayahay sa kinabuhi ning mga bata karon.
You see a bald man saying that it's no longer worth
Pareha sa mga sa una. Nigmata. Lugod-lugod pa sa mata.
Suddenly, a hand emerges from the pile of bodies.
Nagkabo na, naglaba. Nanilhig silong. Bahog sa manok.
Doesn't stop crawling for quite a while, always moving forward. A few seconds later, we see a
Grabe.
Then we see the starry sky with the bright moon full of smoke and fire. Someone says that maybe they didn't gather the pieces of the snowy owl just to take down the country's terrorism. The man continues to say that they were almost annihilated just because she saved them
Karon
from violence. He says that a small act of kindness can be a trigger alert on those terrorists.
Labi natin mo sapatos. Lagom na kayo. Bahala ng inyong mga sapatos diha kay di ko mulaba. Mga sa mo pungkol. Bahala sila silang sapatos. Ang puti nahimo nag-brown.
He continues saying the organization has prepared a vacation for her psychedelic support and that she can return to what she wants. She then asks him to revoke the decision to preserve the snowy owl number, and he asks why. The girl then says that snowy owl succeeded. She finishes by saying that Nikki succeeded.
Kailangan talaga sila yung maglaban ng sapatos para may alam naman. Para may alam sa buhay. Yanjai enters a room, salutes, and calls for action check.
Hindi lahat ng panahon tayong gumagawa. Paano na pag wala na tayo? Hindi marunong sa mga gawaing bahay. Sila din yung nahirapan pag tamad-tamad. Yung isa kong anak ko, di 4, yahaing buhay.
Taking a deep breath, he stops and says that maybe they're just unlucky today. And then finally he stops and thinks it's a good time to find a place to sleep. As soon as he finishes saying that, he hears a nearby gunshot. Then we hear someone yelling for everyone to move quickly.
Iba talaga yung mga new generation ngayon kaysa sa noon.
The girls then run toward the attacking zombies. Two have very similar attack patterns. The zombie with serious foot kicks. While one attacks with punches, the other attacks with kicks, both extremely lethal. One of the survivors asks who they belong to, where they came from, and the other replies that he's not really sure, but they're really strong. One of them looks back and says there's still a zombie behind them. Suddenly that zombie is smashed to the ground.
Dami kong labahin.
The two survivors stare at the scene. The boy is smiling, asks if they're hurt. One of the survivors with a trembling mouth says that
Kita niyo ba?
smiling, our hero says they would have been done for if it
Kita
weren't for
niyo.
help. The other survivor with glasses asks if he can help. Our hero
Labahin.
assistant says he has a new
Ay, nako.
to listen to the group and to be a werewolf. Our hero wonders if it's really a werewolf or just another zombie. The people from the survivor group respond that they don't know, but they've been trapped there for 4 days, all because they looked at it. Caleb says now he's lost. The guy says that as long as hero protects them, they'll be able to take whatever he wants once they reach the camp. Smiling, he says he's going to collect on that. The survivor glasses
Laba ko ngayon guys kasi ano,
sells a combat scene.
ngayon lang maglaba.
Everything points to the werewolf they were talking about finally showing up. Cal tells Yanchi to take care of it. Then he puts Shelby and Troy to protect the survivors. And then out of nowhere, one of the survivors pulls out a gun. Our hero.
Di ba hilo kayo sa video ko?
He then yells for everyone to go while our hero notices that all of them have either a firearm or revolver. Lost and unconscious what's going on. Yanchi attacks furiously and hits the werewolf in the chest. The survivors take the opportunity to use those long-range weapons to shoot. Our hero tells them to wait because his mate is still in the line of fire. Clearly, the survivors don't really want to get open fire.
Rinig yung TV.
Hero tells
Rinig yung TV siguro.
looks back with a blank expression, but notices bullets coming her way. She narrowly, with great effort, dodges the line of fire using the car to help. The werewolf that was in front of her gets rid of the three survivors. Our hero grabs one of the survivors by the shirt ankle. He complains that his mate is still in the line of fire. The survivor says he is trying to help. And like, he lets go of the survivor's shirt, pushes him.
Punta tayo sa ano, may bayabasan. Sa may bayabas. Oh, may hinog. May hinog. Ayan o. Hinog na. Kunin natin para kainin. Ayun, may mga malalaki. Hingay ng langgam. Diniros! Niros! Kuwasan yung bayabas oh! Nakuha ko yung bayabas. Bakit? Kus kanya kasi nagano ako ng cellphone tapos malayo. Malayo. Dali na! Kaya ba? Daming hinog. Dali na! Kainin na naman to ng ibon. Tigas ng ulo na ako. Ang dali naman nalubat. Hindi ko makaakyat dun. Kasi hawak kong cellphone. Maya na lang kunin, tigas ng ulo ng pakyatin ko. Dami kasing hinog, kainin to ng ibon maya pag hindi makuha. Hello. Yung bahay naming sira-sira. Kusina namin. Bahay na sira-sira. Kahit sira pa sa sariling bahay, hindi mag-rent, okay na yun. Tanggapin natin kung ano yung pamumuhay natin. Huwag tayong magpanggap mayaman. Huwag tayong feeling mayaman tulad ng iba dyan. Makuha yung mga bayabas, hindi doon sa tuktok kung maabot. Ganda ng panahon, sana hindi masira yung ganda ng panahon. O diba, busog ako sa bayabas. Badami labang mo. Laba tayo guys, daming labahin. Bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye muna kasi maglaba.